Evacuations from Afghanistan are entering their final stages following devastating twin bomb attacks. At least 90 people have been killed, mostly Afghan civilians. The United States is now on alert for more terror attacks targeting Kabul's international airport. Live to Simon Marks in a moment, but first, a look at what's happening on the ground.
It's barely days to go before foreign troops must leave Afghanistan. For the thousands of people still stranded at Kabul airport, it's an agonizing wait, and the stakes are now higher in the wake of a devastating terror attack.
باور بکنه من میگم این دقیقه ثانیه انفجار میشه و انفلاق میشه ایت خدا رو شما شاهد میگیرم ثانیه به ثانیه اما مشکلات زندگی هست که دامنگیر مانه مثلا به مجبورن ما میایم اینجا با ترس غلبه میکنیم.
The local affiliate of the Islamic State terror group has claimed responsibility. The attack has been universally condemned, with the United States vowing revenge. The Taliban has also denounced the strike. Foreign forces are now bracing for more disaster.
We always thought there would be a risk that escalates as we left in general terms. Somebody would have wanted to claim that they had, kicked us all out. Someone would have wanted to grab the media attention.
Evacuation efforts are in overdrive as the security situation worsens. Western countries have flown out around 100,000 people in the past 2 weeks. But some will not have the chance to leave. Spain, Australia and New Zealand are among the latest to wrap up evacuations. The Taliban insists there's no reason to extend the withdrawal deadline.
Simon Marks joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Simon, the top U.S. commander in the region, General Frank McKenzie, he says he expects more attacks. How are U.S. forces preparing for that possibility?
President Biden actually used the word inevitable about the prospect of additional attempts to attack U.S. forces and American citizens and others on the ground at the airport. The president says, and the Pentagon claims, that they have asked the Taliban to expand the perimeter around the airport and also to close more roads that lead to the airport, because one of the concerns that they have is not just a repeat of a suicide bombing attack, as was witnessed yesterday, but the possibility of cars being used to drive explosives into crowds. They're also worried about the prospect of rocket attacks. They remain heavily reliant on the Taliban. They say they saw no collusion between the Taliban and the ISIS-K terrorist believed to have been responsible, at least for the suicide bombing attack. They argued yesterday that some Taliban security guards are more scrupulous in searching people than others. But President Biden articulated the view that the United States and the Taliban, on this issue at least, have a shared interest, the shared interest being to get this evacuation operation wrapped up by August the 31st so that the US can then leave and the Taliban can take control of the airport. But getting to August the 31st still looks like a pretty complicated and extremely hazardous path.
Simon, Joe Biden has vowed to exact revenge on the attackers for this. How's he going to deliver on that promise?
Well, he said that the United States had a pretty good notion of who might have been responsible, at least in terms of operational control of this effort by ISIS-K, described by the United States government as a remnant of Islamic State, a splinter group still operating on Afghan soil. That, of course, raises the question, well, if they had heard all of this chatter in the system and they had an idea of who was responsible for planning the attacks, why didn't they do something to preempt the attacks and head them off? The president insists that even after US forces depart Kabul airport, the United States will continue adopting what he refers to as an over-the-horizon approach to Afghanistan, engaging in counter-terrorism actions whenever and wherever possible. And he said that action against the ISIS-K leadership and others involved in the attacks of yesterday will come at a time of America's choosing. But the president faces a rhetorical problem here in the United States now, having told the American people that the American mission in Afghanistan is complete because he has said Afghanistan is not in a position to serve as a haven for terrorist activity, he now finds that he's leading the nation in grief after 13 American servicemen were killed by terrorist activity in Afghanistan. And that's going to be a continuing problem for him in the weeks and months ahead as developments on the ground in Afghanistan advance. And there will be Americans now clearly stuck in Afghanistan, where ISIS-K appears to be able to operate with a considerable degree of impunity.
Some nervous days ahead. Simon, thank you very much for that. Simon Marks there in Washington, D.C.